Hi, this is Rose with Heart Finds channel, and welcome to Out with a Bang, the Last Days of Summer collaboration, hosted by Mandy from Sunflowers and Doors and Julie from Julie's Papercraft, in partnership with Junk Journal Ideas and Inspiration Facebook group. Each day in the month of August, collaborators will post videos. Most of the time there'll be 2 videos a day, sometimes just one, and they will have prompts to inspire their creations for that day. So if you would like to follow along, if you go to the description, there will be a link that will be updated every day with the newest videos. And the nice thing is that these will remain on YouTube, so you can watch them anytime you want to. Mandy and Julie have both generously provided freebies for this collaboration. Mandy's are Poppies and Grunchy Poppies kits, and both kits are very large and beautiful. And she will be posting freebies each week for you to work with from these kits, and they are also on sale for 50% off during the month of August. There will be a link also in the description for those if you'd like to purchase them. And then Julie from Julie's Papercraft has also provided a beautiful gladiola kit. This is just one page, an example of the kit. So, my day is day 8, nostalgia. Well, I'm several decades old, so I have a lot to be nostalgic about. But to me, nostalgia just means anything that gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling that you can think of from the past, music that you've experienced. Somehow it's funny that when you hear certain songs, they remind you of certain events or things that you did. Can be photos. It can be old ephemera like tickets to a concert you went to, a letter someone wrote you. So anyway, I love nostalgia, and I'm actually getting ready this fall and winter. One of my to-do projects is to make journals for most of my family members, especially my children and grandchildren. So it's nice that I can start getting inspired to get stuff collected to do that. And today, what I wanted to work on was to revisit something from the past that's been around since my scrapbooking days. As a matter of fact, I realized I have a lot of acetate. And since I'm really trying to use some of these things or get rid of them that I've got in my craft room, I decided to work with acetate today and see what kind of nostalgic touches we can give to our journal projects with acetate. So some of the things that I worked on was this is the gladiolas from Julie's kit, and I just made a quick little journal, and I did this cute little acetate pocket. Actually, this is an old pocket that I purchased, and it's got a little note in there, a little secret note. And then I did acetate for a little definition at the end of the journal. So just fun little touches to a quick journal. And this is just a sticker from Dollar Tree that I stuck the gladiolas on. And then with Julie's gladiola kit, I made these journals, which I'm really happy with how they turned out. I printed on paper one of the pages from the kit, and I think I used presentation paper. And then I went back and I used a transparency sheet, a printable transparency sheet for inkjet printer, and I printed the same page again. And then I layered them to make the cover for these journals. And I love it because to me, it's very nostalgic. It reminds me of the 3D movies that we used to watch, or 3D pages, books that used to be so popular, notebooks. So that was something I really enjoyed. I'm happy with how it turned out. I haven't really bound it yet, as I'm still working on these. but I'm going to show you the transparency. I'm working with 2 different transparency sheets today, plus some other acetate. But anyway, these I bought, this is my second package. I bought them on Amazon, and I love the package they come in, because after you use the sheets, you still got all this great packaging, plus some wonderful tissue paper to work with too, because there's tissue paper between each sheet. So they've turned out, I'm very, very pleased with how this printed. And how I print on my inkjet printer with these is I use the draft setting on my printer, and then the draft setting, and I think I used photo paper setting too. Photo paper and draft. Instead of, I usually use best print setting, but on these I use draft because it helps them dry more quickly, and they turn out just beautiful. And then also I purchased this Duralar paper, which is good to use for heat, because I wanted to try embossing, which I did do that, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. And you can do some other things with it. Actually though, I couldn't print with it. I ran it through my printer and the ink didn't dry. It did not do well printing with an inkjet printer. But it did do well with the heat, and I think it would do well with stamping and permanent markers. I did try it with the stamping, and that worked well too. So I'll put the links for both of these papers in the description box. In case you're interested in purchasing them. I don't make anything off of the Amazon. I just like to always, if I find something that's a good product, I like to share it. So in this, I tried to do a few little, actually, as I said, I haven't finished these yet, but I plan on doing a few little touches in them. And what I did to make the journals as a closure is I just used a brad, and I put a lot of Fabri-Tac underneath the ribbon to protect that from tearing with the wear and tear, the acetate. So there's lots of Fabri-Tac and underneath the ribbon and the brad. And then on the back, I used some linen tape to help protect it also. And I just sewed around it. I think I did use, one moment and I'll get it. I did use Glossy Accents and Fabri-Tac. And when I made the covers, I didn't glue the whole cover down. I just did little touches on the dark spots with the Glossy Accents or the Fabri-Tac. I think I can interchange those. But I'm very pleased because they don't show up at all. You cannot see where I glued it at all. And then I sewed around it. And so it's just a empty cover. Then I'm going to use brads and do elastic binding for these. But you could, if you want to do a sewing binding. And also use the inkjet transparency paper and printed off some of these, which I'm going to use at different places. They're not even cut out yet as text spots, because I think they look so pretty in here. This is some old acetate I had, and I just glued it on the picture, and I think that this will be great for it. This is another old acetate. This is just a picture I printed on regular photocopy paper, and I love how it turned out. It looks so vintage, and this is my mother-in-law. Every one of these pictures this is my sweet great-granddaughter. So anyway, I thought it added some nice touches where I can, like, this can be a journaling spot, or add it where you can have a text spot or a pocket, and this will make a cute little tag with one of those printed. This is just like a collage printed on transparency, and I did this of my sweet great niece. And this will also make a great tag or something. And then this was some old paper. I think it was of my mom some old embroidery pattern paper. And then on the back, I used one of those acetate sheets and just made a cute little tuck spot. And this one, this is from Julie's kit. This is one of the beautiful butterflies in her kit. She has a page of butterflies, and I just printed those on a transparency and added it to a card I already had for a cute little journal card or to make a pocket. And this is from Julie's kit, a transparency that I made into a little pocket or envelope. And the same, this is, I think, this was a mysterious picture that we had. I think it's my husband's grandmother. His grandparents were in vaudeville. And they came over, I think she came from Scotland. And they traveled and they went to Australia, and they performed a lot in Australia. And I think this is a picture. I just printed, I didn't use the actual picture for this. I just printed it out on something else and I shrunk it so that I could add it into this little specimen card. But acetate is so fun to protect. Like, I have used some real photos, old photos in the specimen cards with the acetate, because as long as I just tape them in with washi tape and then I sew around the specimen card, so I can actually tear it apart and get the photo out if I want to, and it won't tear up the photo. And I thought of that because I used to do all this scrapbooking, and then later I didn't like my pages and I wanted the pictures out of them, and they were all glued down and I couldn't get them out. So when I use real photos in these now, I make sure, most of these aren't real photos, but a few of them are. And when I use real photos, I make sure I don't actually glue down the photo. I just tape it with washi, and then I glue around it and sew around it. And then this is one that acetate for mixed media that I did emboss on, which was really fun. I enjoyed that. And how I did that was I used some of the red line tape. Put you some here. Whoop, as I knocked my little guy over. I have this guy that I keep my tape on, and he's always falling over. But anyway. And then this one, I just took some old acetate I had, and I don't even know what this came from. It's heavier. It was just a piece I had from packaging. I embossed on it, the same thing with the red line tape and heated the embossing powder. And I put a little dried flower inside. And that would be fun to use in a journal too. And this one is just something I stamped on. I was experimenting with that mixed media transparency paper, and I stamped on it. And to stamp on the mixed media paper, the transparencies, you have to use the permanent ink, like, let me see, the archival ink like this, Ranger archival ink, or stays on. Let me get my stays on and show you. I put this up here so that it would show, things would show up better, but it's sliding away. Excuse me. So this is the stays on, and actually it makes, when you stamp with the stays on, it makes a clearer image than with archival ink, but I wanted it in black and I didn't have any black stays on, so I just did it with archival ink, and it worked pretty good. And then I just sewed it on a piece of scrap picking paper that was already colored, so it had a nice background underneath, and that will make a nice little text spot in one of these journals. I think they like to add some color on one of the pages. I printed off these pages. I just printed these off on regular copy paper. Also, I tried tinning with alcohol ink, tinning the transparency and stamping on it, and then I just put a little die cut around it. And this one I didn't tint. You can see the difference. Anyway, I really like how it turned out with the tinting. And then this, I just used an old frame and put her picture behind it. And then I used one of my acetate birds. I have a lot of little acetate cutouts that I think that were embellishments for scrapbooking. And so I made this to be a over the page flip. That was a smaller page. I need to find a bigger page to put it on. There we go. So this will just make a little over the page flip where you can journal underneath it, and I could staple it or put a paper clip or something there. And on the other side, we have an embellishment also. So I'm going to start using these up. They've just been sitting there for years, and I think they're so cute to use for little accents in journals. So if you ever see any of those in the scrapbooking stores, or if someone is selling their scrapbook supplies, grab them up, because they do make really cute little accents in journals, especially if you're trying to have a touch of nostalgia. Then we'll move on to the things that I made with Mandy's Poppy Kits. And after I show you some of the embellishments I've made ephemera for it with the acetate, I'm going to show you how to make this little ephemera keeper made out of just sheet protectors. I had these old black sheet protectors, and I thought those would be perfect in kind of a nostalgic little journal. So I'm in a little file folder, and I love it. I put some of those pockets on the front, and then I got stored all of my ephemera in there for another kit of Mandy's that I've been working with. And so I'm going to show you later in a few minutes how to make one of these. It's very simple and fun and easy to make. And I forgot to show you one of the favorite things I did with Gladiola Kit, and that was the cute little butterflies. I made butterfly paper clips, and what I did was print off from Julie's Gladiola Kit. I printed off the butterflies on, I believe this is presentation paper, and then I printed them off on the printable acetate, and then I layered them and just glued them in the middle. And then I just kind of pushed my butterflies down and creased them so that the wings would kind of come up a little bit. So just take and push them down a little bit and kind of crease them. And then I just added some ribbon and a little bit of wired ribbon on the front, and some more fluttery ribbon on the back. And I just love them. First of all, I wrapped my paper clip, the long part of my paper clip, I just wrapped it in paper and glued it. And then I glued the butterfly on. But it's easier, I found, to glue the acetate onto the paper butterfly and then glue the whole thing down to the paper clip. But you can do it however way you want. And then I made these cute little bookmarks by just printing some of a page from the kit onto the acetate, the inkjet printable acetate, and then I just sewed it onto another piece of page from the kit. Anyway, I just think those are so cute. I'm really happy with how those turned out. And here's another one. I just used it to, I have some scrap paper left, and I had these acetate little things I've had forever, so I stapled one of those on and covered up the staple with a sticker from Dollar Tree and added the little paperclip butterfly. And I just think this just are so cute and will add a nice surprise to my journals. I think this will be a fun little surprise when they open the page and see the butterflies. And I'm thinking maybe if I got them close to the center, if I clip them on, then when they open the page, well, they'll show from the top, which would be nice, like that. So anyway, I'm very happy with those, and I hope you try those. And this one, I just made a journal card the same way. I just layered a piece of acetate that I printed on over another page from the kit and sewed it. I think this actually, these are part of their journal cards, so I just printed them off in acetate and then printed them off in paper so that I could layer them together. And then this one, I actually glued to the tag, and I just tried to match them up so that it would look good from either side. So like if you're turning it on either, if you had it in your book, that it would still look good from either side. And this one was just kind of drab, so I layered brown on brown, and I decided that it was too drab, so I added a little bit of stickles, glitter to it, and some little rhinestones, and made it a little sparkly. And then on the other side, I took an acetate pocket that you use for business cards, or that you put labels for notebooks. I'm not sure exactly. There's some kind of business. I think they're for notebooks. Anyway, I just took that and I stamped on it. And then I just took a little card that I already had, and I did use my corner cutter on the edges, and then slide it in, and it makes a nice little place to have a little journaling spot. So that is, I'm anxious to get these all decorated so that I can give them as gifts and get them bound, and I will be using eyelets and some elastic to bind them, or they could be sewn in. The signature could be sewn in. It's just a single signature, so you could actually sew it in. Okay, now on to my next journal, and this one I use Mandy's 2 poppy kits, and I combined the grungy poppy and the other poppy, so it's kind of a mixture of both kits. And I haven't finished decorating the front. This is just kind of the bare bones. I put this on, but I think I'm gonna have to put some things on the edges because I really don't like, it doesn't look finished to me. And inside, I just had, I like to take tape and tape it on a picture I like, especially from old catalogs. This is from old Victorian Papers catalog. And then you rub it off, you get it wet. There's lots of videos on how to do that. But you rub the paper off, and you have a nice little acetate image. And so I took that image and just put it on a piece of paper from the kit and sewed around it just to make an interesting little journaling spot. And as I said, I haven't finished in here yet. I still got lots to do in here. This was my attempt to use Nuvo. Let me see if I got, here it is. To make some dimension, especially since I was experimenting with so much acetate, I decided I wanted to try the Nuvo crystal glaze to make some dimension. But since I'm a little bit klutzy, I got the glaze on there and I picked it up to move it and dropped it. So it's kind of a mess, but I'm using it anyway because I don't think that it'll make any difference to the people I'm giving it to. They'll still like it. It was a nice little place for them to keep little mementos. And then I put another one of those pockets. I stamped this one just with some archival ink. And then I used some washi tape and covered a card to put inside. And I'm happy with how that turned out. I glued my string underneath my circle. And then this was a photograph that I had printed on paper. And I cut up the photograph to use it in different places. And then I printed on the acetate and I cut that up into pieces. And so I just used a part of the poppy pattern on the acetate to cover the photograph. And then I used some sari ribbon to just make a cute little pocket. And I thought that looked very nostalgic to have that little doll there. And this is just a memento, a favorite little memento of mine. I had a secret pal for years. And I met her when she was in high school. And she would send me the cutest little things, and her mom would too. And they called me their fairy godmother. So we would send little things back and forth to each other. It was so much fun. And then this one, I was trying to make an over-the-page tag. And I guess it does look okay. I think it will be okay for an over-the-page tag. But I used a vintage photograph of my grandfather, and I used some tinted acetate to put over the top of that. Then when I opened it up, I had another one of those acetate pockets inside so that you could have a secret little message inside. The paper is so old on this, I kept having problems with the paper falling apart as I was working with it. And let me see, as I said, I still have lots of decorating to do in this book. But I did have a couple more acetate things to show you. Oh, I have these little acetate, and they're from my scrapbooking days too. But you could actually use your die cutter, if you have a die cutter, and make little things like this. Just stamp and die cut them out. If you find some little interesting patterns like this. So anyway, I've had these for many years, and I decided I wanted to use them. So I used one on this little bird, and I just used a piece of note paper, and I kind of layered on it and sewed on it with a little bit of trim that someone sent me. And then I used the bird and used a little bit of glitter around the bird just to add interest to it. This is just a vellum pocket, vellum bag I made out of the paper. This poppy paper makes gorgeous vellum bags. I really love how that turned out. Just beautiful paper. And so there are lots of videos on YouTube of how to print on vellum and how to make bags. So I won't go into that, but anyway, I just love to use those in my journals. And now we're going to get on to my, this is the little file folder that I was going to show you how to make. I love how these turned out, and I think this will be perfect. I just used, as I said, some elastic ribbon, some scraps of elastic ribbon I had, with a little charm to keep it together. And I think this will be perfect in the back of my book. I think what I will probably do is put a ribbon and then, or a lace pocket and stick it down in the pocket. So, and then there will be all these pictures in there for them to have. This one actually is very full of, because it's from another kit and another journal I was working on. So, and I just used these black page protectors to make the little pockets inside. And then I made my own washi tape to just give a little support to the pages, because they will be used and I didn't want them tearing apart. So I use this. Mako is the brand I use, and I'll put a link to that in the description box for this video. I've used it for several years and I love it. It has gotten a little bit more expensive, but it goes a long ways. They're clear, full page. You want to make sure you're getting the full sheet labels of 8.5 by 11. That's in the United States, and I'm not sure in other countries. I'm sure there's something comparable in other countries. So, and then it comes out, so just a thin sheet. And the sticker part is on the back. And then the other part is, so you can't really see it until you print on it. But it prints beautifully. And I use photo setting and best printing on my printer to print this. And I make lots of stickers and washi tape with this. I have lots of washi tape, but I kind of like making my own washi tape that really coordinates with what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put this over here for now. So here's some of the washi tape that I made for this project that I've been using. And as you can see, when you put the washi tape on, it almost looks like fabric. So for the one we're going to make today, I have, as I said, I have a whole stack of these, and they're nice thick acetate. So I cut one of those down to save time since this video is so long. I cut one of those down and I sewed it on the front, and I just shredded it, kind of shredded a little bit, or frayed a little bit of ribbon, and put I think this was actually from an old package. This is a brand, and I cut that out and glued it on for the label. And then on the back, I used another one of the acetate sheets and some sticker buttons I had, and put that on, just sewed that on the back. And then I just stuck this, just a piece of ephemera I stuck in there. So this is what it looks like to start out. And these are, this is letter size. Mandy has these in the kit. So these 5 folders. I think there's 2 or 3 patterns of them. So I printed this one on presentation paper. And I just cut it out. So this is, if you print on, make sure your printer is on full page instead of fit. Sometimes I make a mistake and I'll have it to fit the page, but this is, I believe this was full page to get this size. And I have a couple sizes in these. This is another that it's fit to page. And with it, I used just some regular old music paper, and I printed the file label on the printable acetate and sewed it on top of the music paper. And then I cut out around the music paper so that I'd have my file folder. And then inside, I'm going to put, I also printed off some of Mandy's pockets that are in the kit, in the acetate. And they'll fold up where they'll fit nicely in the kit. In the folder. So this is another one of them that I'll be working on to add to the journal. These would make just nice little happy mail too. And then this one, I printed just some of the real vintage plain pages. I chose one of those with the flower, and I printed that off and put it over one of the other plain pages. I kind of mixed them. It's not the same page. This is one page, and then this was another page. And I just put that over it. But this was fit to page. This one is smaller because I printed the file folder fit to page instead of full page, which is nice if you need it for a smaller journal or you're going to just use it for happy mail. And so when I sew it down, I just use pamphlet stitch when I sew it down, so that keeps it together. Okay, now back to this one. So I've got the outside done, and on the inside, I just used some more of these file folder acetate pockets, which I love. I think a friend gave me a page of these, and they have come in so handy. So I stamped on them. These I just put stickers on because I love these stickers. So I'm just gonna put this on the inside. And see, that'll be so nice just to put a picture in. A picture of my sweet granddaughter. So a nice little place to keep mementos. And they're nice and sturdy. And this glue, they stay on. I have had some of these I've used last year or the year before, and they're still on with no problem whatsoever. So here's another one I just used a sticker on. There we go. And I put this picture. This is of I believe this is my great grandmother. I'm going to give one of these to my mom. I think she will really love it. Okay. And now we're ready to work on the inside. Oh, and you could put something on the inside of the label part too, but I didn't. Okay, so to cut these, it's very easy. I think it measured 6.5 inches to fit these, but I think I measured so I could tell you that, but I really didn't measure when I did them. I just put it in. Let's see. Yes. Yeah, that's what I did. I put it in like this. And then when you cut this off, is this part with the holes, when you cut that off, it's just the right height. So I just kind of eyeballed how long I wanted it inside the folder. And that ended up, so you're just cutting right across your page. And then you can use this one for a smaller file folder, or use it in something, ephemera keeper or something. So this ended up 6.5 inches. And then I will just cut off this part with the holes. Make sure my black paper is in there, okay? Okay, so now I have the inside. And originally I was going to try to use 2 pages, but that just was too thick. So the most you can do in these is only 2 of these. But that's still, you've got the front and the back of each one. So I'll show you, here's one that for this page that I haven't sewn it together, but I've got it done. Or here, I'll show you this one. It's sewn. Okay, so when you sew it, when you fold it up, to make sure that wherever is going to be the front of your book, which this is the front of my folder, so you want the top loading at the top. So you'll have 2 top loadings on that page. And then you'll have 2 side on the other side of the page. So there's 4 storage places right there. And you're going to use 2 pages. So that means you're going to have 8 storage places in this, plus the pockets on the inside and the pockets on the outside. So that's quite a bit of storage in these little folders. So, and the way you sew this, one side is already sealed. See, that one's sealed. So you sew down one side, and then you do part of the other side. So you have your side openings, and you have your longer openings, which are perfect for tags. So this one, I was going to show you how I do the tape. At first I was trying to just double the tape over, but it was making my acetate pucker too much, and I like things that are fast and easy. So it ended up, I just put around on each side, and then on the inside I don't put on this side, and then I just taped on the inside. And I didn't even try to be real exact, because it still looks nice against that black, whether you're exact or not, getting it right to the edges, and it gives support. So this one, I've already done both these sides, and I was just going to show you. And this works. One reason I like using my own washi tape is because I know it sticks well. I don't have to put glue. This washi tape that I make myself works very well. And you just cut it. And it's easier to see on this side, so you don't have to use the black paper, because you can just match it up to the tape that you've already got down. And then just kind of use your hands and make sure it's stuck on good. Use your fingers. Or you can use your little brayer too, or something if you want to. Okay, so now we've got... And when I did the first page, when you start off on the right side, on each side, I do keep the black paper in there so I'll show you with this one. When you're getting ready to put the tape on, it helps to have this black line to follow when you're putting your tape on. And it is much easier, I found out, to put your tape on before you fold this up, and so I unscore it. So I think the first one I didn't, and it was I think I had a few more puckers, so it's much easier to do it this way. So you're going to put tape on all 4 sides, on the front and the back, and then you're going to open it up and just put tape on these 3 sides. You don't have to do the inside one because it's got plenty of support. That's got 2 pieces of paper in there. I don't know why. Oh, yes, I do. One of them goes to this one. Okay. Okay. Oh, I had lots of these folders, so I'm glad that I'm finding something to do with them. So now we've got our tape on. Look, I think I missed a side there. Yeah. I need the tape on the outside right here. See if I can find some more tape. Here's some. Oh, that was too wide. And usually this is very easy to get up to. There we go. And I found the easiest way is to just go ahead and peel off the whole thing. And stretch it taut so that you can match up the line easier. I don't want to stick my head in here where you can't see. So there we go. And then cut it off. And then I'm just using my leftover tape and taping it to some paper that I will do some kind of art project with, so it's not wasted. Okay, so now this one is all ready to sew, and I'm going to go off camera for just a moment and sew it so you don't have to listen to me sew. Well, hi, I'm back, and I decided that this video is getting to be really long, so I went ahead and finished my sewing and put the book together, and I'll just review with you what I did. I put the washi tape on both sides of the acetate before I scored it, and then I excuse me, I sewed my pockets how I wanted them. You've got one side that's closed, so you can decide if you want to have side pockets or a top pocket. And I sewed that together, and then I scored it with my scoring board and made sure that it was really flat before I added it to my folder. And then I just used a simple pamphlet stitch to sew it in, which there's lots of videos on how to do a pamphlet stitch. Or you could also do a Midori elastic binding if you wanted to. And then, just for extra support, I used some linen tape. I think this is Tim Holtz linen tape, but linen tape is much stronger than washi tape. And I just put some of that on the outside because I do plan on using this, and I wanted it to last and not fall apart. So I added the tape, and that was it. And it is ready to store things. And I put this letter that my sister wrote me back in 1959. It's really funny to read old letters like that. Some pictures of me and my dad and when I was a little girl and a playmate. And then another picture of my grandfather at a military ball I went to with a young man in 1967. That was fun. A picture of some of my other sweet grandbabies, and a tea card from a tea business I used to have. Lots of good memories. This is a fun place to store little bits of nostalgia. Disney World tickets. I went with my sweet little granddaughter when she was little, and she brought me this little heart. It says a gift. She called me Grammar, a gift to Grammar. And it was in 2003, not 1903, I'm not that old. And it was this little card I have kept for years because we used to get these in the mail, and it was an entry to win the American Dream sweepstakes. And my husband and I would have so much fun planning what we were going to do when we won. I don't know why we were so sure we were going to win, and we didn't, but it was fun. I remember all the fun planning we used to do and laughing about it. And so that is the fun little ephemera folder to keep your bits of nostalgia. And I just made another elastic holder on binding to hold it together. So now I've got two. This one goes, as I said, in a different album, but this one will fit right into the back of my Poppy album. And I just love this Poppy album and the design for this. And also I made a little bit of more acetate ephemera to go in it. An old picture of my mother-in-law. And I just put it between two pieces of acetate and die cut and set it together, but I think it will make a really nice page. Tuck something down behind it. I made a acetate envelope out of some of the Poppy pages in the kit. And there was Mandy included some beautiful frames. There are several frames, and I liked how I made the frames. Was I put the acetate, I printed the acetate page, and then I printed another page to go behind it, the same page, with the same frame. I cut out the frames and matched the acetate to the paper and made the frames 3D. And then I put my pictures behind that. So it is on, and then I put a backing on. So I like how it looks like that, because it looks like your frame has a little bit of depth to it. So I think that turned out really pretty. And I just used a little bit of tea paper on it and embellishment. But there's several frames like that. Or if you just wanted to use it to do the acetate by itself, it's still beautiful. But I really liked the depth it gave it to layer the two together. Then I made some more fun little acetate tucks on the back of tags. Look, that one's coming apart. I think I'm going to need to sew that one. Little, in that kit, there's also some sweet little specimen cards that I used acetate on the back, acetate stickers inside, and added a picture of my first communion. And this, just a sweet little acetate quote that I just made a little text spot with it. And then, of course, don't forget acetate envelopes. You can do so much with envelopes. A great place to store things. And they go, if you put the poppy backing in there, it makes a beautiful little envelope for your page. This was just an old scrap piece of paper with a tea bag and some more paper that I just sewed over to make a nice little, and added the acetate on top that I had printed on to make a nice little text spot, and another envelope that I think would make a really nice cover. I'm not sure if I will use it on this one, but I plan on making more journals from this paper, so this kit. So I think this would make it really pretty. This is just an envelope that I decorated with my granddaughter, and something that opens up. Now, then I put a little pocket inside, one of those acetate pockets with a place to put a note. Well, I think that would make a very pretty cover. And that's it. Thank you so much for hanging in here with me, if you have for this long. I had loved both of these kits. I think they're both well, I guess all three. I love the Gladiola kit and both of Mandy's kits. And this collaboration is really fun. I hope you will click on the link to the playlist in the description box and watch the other collaborators every day in the month of August. You can watch some fun videos. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.